Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Huzaifah Ahmed, and today is another day where I will record myself discussing with ChatGPT on a topic. And today's topic is the secret to building lasting habits. I'm from Rehan School Korangi campus. Let's start today's video. Hey ChatGPT, today I am going to discuss with you about the secret to building lasting habits.
That's a great topic. I'm really excited to dig into that. What kind of habits are you thinking about? Something related to health, productivity, or maybe something else?
Well, I want you to first introduce this topic, like what exactly is a habit and what makes it different from just a routine.
Absolutely. So, a habit is really a behavior that we do automatically, often triggered by some cue, and it becomes almost second nature over time. A routine, on the other hand, is just a sequence of actions you do regularly, but it might still require a lot of conscious effort. So, habits are more like ingrained patterns, something that once formed happens without a lot of thinking.
Okay, then why do most people fail to build habits even when they're highly motivated? Like, is there a connection between habits and motivation, or is there anything different in it?
That's a really common struggle, actually. Motivation is definitely important, but it's often kind of fleeting. It comes and goes. Habits, on the other hand, rely more on consistency and having a clear trigger or small steps. So when people depend too much on motivation alone, they often quit when the key spark fades. Instead, the key is to build systems. Start small, tie habits to existing routines, and focus on the process, not just the outcome.
So, one word for everything you just said is discipline. Instead of building habits based on motivation, you have to be disciplined about it. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Discipline is really the foundation. It's that steady commitment to showing up even when motivation dips. Once you build that discipline, the habit kind of takes care of itself. And it's that daily consistency that makes it last.
Okay, now what does science say actually happens in the brain when a habit forms?
When a habit forms, it starts with conscious decision making in the prefrontal cortex, where you have to plan and exert willpower. As you repeat the behavior, a habit loop forms cue, routine, reward, which strengthens in the basal ganglia. Over time, the behavior becomes automatic, reducing the need for conscious thought. And that's why habits can be so powerful and also so hard to break.
What's the minimum time required to build a lasting habit? Is the 21 days rule true? Explain the 21 days rule so the people who don't know actually get to know it, and we give me this answer in really detail.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 21 days rule is pretty popular, and it actually comes from a book by Dr. Maxwell Maltz in the 1960s. He observed that after about 21 days of repeating a behavior, patients started to get used to it. But science today says it's not a strict number. More recent research suggests it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the habit, how complex it is, and the person. So the key is consistency, repetition over time until it feels natural. And it's not just the number of days, but staying committed to the process, even when it's tough.
All right, then what's the most important factor? The habit itself, the trigger, or the reward? I'm just basically confused about it.
That's a great question. And honestly, all three play a crucial role, but the trigger is often the most important. The trigger is like a signal to your brain that says, hey, it's time for this action. Once the trigger is in place and consistent, the habit itself forms and the reward reinforces it. So the magic happens when all three align, but starting with a reliable trigger is often what sets everything off.
All right, then if triggers that important, I want you to give me an example so it's better for me to understand what it basically is.
Of course. So let's say you want to build a habit of doing 5 minutes of stretching every morning. Your trigger could be something like brushing your teeth. So as soon as you finish brushing your teeth, that's your cue to start stretching. After you stretch, you give yourself a small reward, like a few minutes of your favorite music or a quick break. Over time, that brushing teeth trigger paired with the reward helps lock in the stretching habit. So the trigger is basically the moment you anchor it to, something you already do.
All right, now what role does the environment play in making or breaking habits? Or actually, does it play any role?
Oh, absolutely. Environment is huge. Our surroundings really shape our behaviors. If your environment cues certain actions, it makes it easier or harder to follow through. For instance, if you keep a book on your bedside table, it encourages you to read before bed. But if your environment's full of distractions, like your phone next to you, it's harder to stick to those habits. So, a supportive environment, one that promotes the cues and removes barriers, can really make or break a habit.
Why don't you then mention some good environment things to do for making a good habit?
Yeah, definitely. So, one big thing is to reduce clutter. Keep the things you need visible and the distractions out of sight. You can also set up specific spaces like a designated reading nook for reading habits or a workout corner for fitness. Another trick is to pre plan cues, like laying out your workout clothes the night before, so that the environment nudges you toward action. And finally, surround yourself with reminders, post it notes, alarms, or even digital prompts, so that your environment keeps your habit top of mind.
Okay, well, now I want you to answer this. How do you get back on track after breaking a habit streak? You know, that unmotivated feeling of not starting again. How to overcome that?
Yeah, that's a really tough moment. The big thing is to be kind to yourself. One slip doesn't erase all your progress. Start by just committing to one small step, like, I'll just do this once today, even if it's just a minute. Reconnect with why you started in the first place. Remember the bigger purpose. And if possible, anchor back to your original trigger or routine. Just reintroduce it gently. Every day you start again is a win, so focus on that small step forward.
All right, then a quote or something for staying motivated, or for people who uh, try to get back on track after breaking a habit streak would be really good.
Of course, here's a quote I really like: Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's the key. Each day is a fresh start, and the simple act of getting back up is what keeps you going.
Okay, I like that. Now,
I'm
lastly, what's one habit building strategy someone can start using today? No apps, no tools, just action.
Yeah, a super simple one is to tie a new habit to an existing one, basically a habit stack. So, right after a current habit you already do, like after breakfast or after your shower, you add a small new action. Make it super easy, just a minute or two, so you set yourself up for success. And just do that one small step every day, and the habit will grow from there.
All right. This was my discussion with ChatGPT for today. Until next time, everyone. Allah Hafiz.